Okay, had good practice today. Lively, good physical, tough, hard-nosed practice. Really pleased with the way the kids went out and practiced. Some guys banged up, learning how to play through being banged up. It's a great learning lesson for these guys. And really pleased with the way we pushed through things today. We had I didn't want to be smart. Kendall had a little ankle sprain, so I decided just to hold him out today. He should be back, I think, full go tomorrow. Treatments are good. He says he's feeling pretty good. Probably could have had him go, but wanted to err on the safe side. And then a couple other guys got banged up a little bit, but we'll see how they come out of the treatments here tonight. Other than that, any questions you might have?
Yeah.
Danny?
How are you, Scott?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. As far as what you've taken away so far, I know you didn't have pads in the beginning and you've worked your way into them, but what are the big things that you've been able to take away from the group so far?
Well, I think a lot of the big guys inside are learning how to play the game. It's a different game than high school for some of these guys that haven't played a lot of football with guys their size across from them. It's simple as that. And they're getting 600 pounds of double team on them. Caden Samuels and Jalen Harvey and those guys. So it's a different feeling now. In high school they can stand up, throw a guy down, and go make a play. Now they got two big old dogs that might be 22 years old, doubling them, and it's a new world. So taking, what I take away is probably the biggest learning curve as we're playing physical is those guys learning how important it is to play with technique and being mentally strong, and that's how we define toughness. It's not the physicality of knocking someone over. It's more how do you deal with getting knocked and fighting a good fight to come back the next play, and that's what they're learning. And it's an exciting time for me watching those kids because I see growth potential every single day. It's going to be ups and downs, but that's what makes them when they learn how to get through that.
Good questions. Zach.
Injuries just because of the grind at camp?
Yep. Normal.
Sal?
Coaches, your thoughts on tomorrow and getting the fans to come out?
Can't wait. Fan Fest tomorrow. We're going to lighten the load on the kids in the morning. We have a true two-a-day. Instead of going almost 2 hours, we'll probably go about an hour and a half in the morning, and then come back and we'll start out on our practice fields, and then as the fans get in, we'll meet them over at the soccer facility, and when we turn the corner, we'll split sides up, and we're going to have some good scrimmage work tomorrow. So should be fun, and I look forward to seeing some of the fans, and especially some of the little ones. It's always neat for me and the players to see those kids from the community come out. Looking forward to it. Fan Fest was great last year. The weather's going to be perfect. Great way to kind of kick off the season to those true diehard fans here in town, and just look forward to seeing them.
Stephen.
A couple of guys I wanted to ask about. We saw Ryan Sloan working with Eric Kroom, and also Joey Nassib. Do you have any kind of update?
Yeah, Joey has a shoulder. We're going to have to see how he responds to his rehab. It's probably going to be a couple weeks before he gets back. Ryan, he's got a little thing in his arm that we're hoping it's going to be maybe 2 or 3 days, maybe sooner, maybe later. We've seen guys play with it, so it's going to be pain threshold and his ability to work through the training room and get back.
Like a muscular thing?
I don't want to go into the details.
Okay.
His arm hurts. We're going to try to get him healthy.
Sure.
Can you go talk about Fan Fest again? Can you go more the importance of getting in front of the community with Fan Fest and kind of what it not only does for the fans but for the players as well?
Well, to me, I think people of Syracuse and Central New York are enjoying their summer, but they know right around the corner is a kickoff to our 2014 campaign, and this is like a preview for them to come out and see the kids and take a look at some of the new kids that are running around. They read about them in recruiting. They were excited to see some of these guys get in. At the end of the scrimmage, we're going to let the young guys play a lot of reps, and it's just a chance to kind of reintroduce our team and reintroduce some of those kids that they've been reading about to the fans. And it's a chance for them to come out and see their team. And you know how I always talk about it's Syracuse, it's our team, the Central New York area, it's their team. I want them to really embrace it and enjoy having a college football team in their town, playing at the highest level. And for me, it's more an introduction to the 2014 season.
Zach.
Since you took over, Coach, you put a lot of emphasis on involving the fans in the program. You guys go to the second year now. How do you think the perception of the program has changed in the community?
I don't know. I just know everybody is extremely supportive when I walk. I like to do simple things. Missing out, going on a date and end up at TJ Maxx, looking for a hat for $7.99. I like bumping into the people and just hearing their excitement for the community, for the team. It's pretty simple for me. You have a ACC football team in your town, opportunity to enjoy being part of the college and the excitement that college football brings to your community. And I just want to make sure the fans always know that it is their team, and we talk a lot about it in our auditorium with our team about how we don't want to let them down. It killed me last year. We had a great crowd for that Clemson game, and they were a damn good team, as we all know. And it killed me that we didn't do a better job playing that game for our fans. And it killed our kids. And I said, it's never going to be as pretty as we want it to be early on. But every season and every game, every week, we have an opportunity to do better for you guys, for your fans. And it's as simple as that. It's their team. I want them to embrace it, and I know our kids do. And when they come out in this environment, it's a little bit laid back because we have 20 days before we have to kick it off. It's a chance to go out there, practice hard, and then take a second, talk to the fans a little bit, and get around them. And that's what college football is all about. And we just look forward to meeting up with some folks tomorrow afternoon. It should be a great day.
Yeah.
Scott, you talk about what the fans can get out of it from FanFest side, but as far as the players, what do you think they really can draw from this? And are you paying attention to how they're responding to having somebody watching them, which they're not used to?
No, I don't really. I think once you get on the field, you have to eliminate all distractions. And it's a good opportunity to see the maturity level of some players. Some kids, when they first get here, they have rabbit ears, and they hear everything, and they're looking up, and, there's people over there, I remember that little kid, or, hey, there's that pretty girl, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they got to learn how to block those things out, control the controllables, focus in on what's important, find a happy medium to their mindset when they go out there, play with some balance. You don't want to be too tight. You don't want to be too loose. We talk a lot about finding that happy middle ground and focusing in on job at hand. Once they get between those white lines, I think it's just one play at a time. But with that being said, they'll have a little more juice because they know there's fans out there watching them too, and that's fun. And that's what it's all about.
Steve.
We saw some of the younger skill position players run a little bit with the ones today on offense. Steve Ishmael, Ben Lewis, Devontae. Is that just trying to mix guys up, or?
Just competition. If a guy has a better day than another guy on a Tuesday than Wednesday, he's going to get more reps, and that's that competition that you want, and making sure you have kids that can scare the devil out of the guys that are the starters in the depth chart that doesn't mean anything. The only depth chart that counts is the one we kick off against Villanova, and open competition is the best way to get better, and that's kind of the way we approach it.
Any of those guys in particular?
Yeah, Ishmael's doing a good job. I think Ben Lewis has a high work ethic, and I like the way he's worked at it. Ashton had a really good day yesterday, and we see on the defensive side, Corey Winfield's starting to do some things. We just moved him over the corner. We're trying to force feed him the information and the teaching. He's got a lot of work to do mentally to figure it all out, but he's done some nice things. I think it comes easy to him, and I'm interested to see how he progresses these next few days. And he was running up in there and hitting people today too, and that was really good to see. Jamal Custis, he's a little ways away, but I like the way he works at it. Who else we got? Young guys. Irvin Phillips yesterday. We had some scrimmage tempo plays. I think I might have mentioned it yesterday, and he broke off 2 nice runs. So I think Devontae and George looking at this, moving their shoulders, saying, "Ooh, this is interesting." So competition's the greatest thing. When we first got here, there weren't too many guys pushing the guys in front of them, and now I think that's starting to change a little bit. The quarterback situation, it'll be interesting to see how this all pans out here in the next week or so. I'd like to come out of Fort Drum feeling strong about what our two deep starting to look at, knowing that it's not solidified, but hopefully it can be, kind of narrowed down a little bit. So I think, I told the kids in the meeting today, when we get to Saturday evening, it would be like cut day, elimination day in the NFL. And we won't cut anybody, but we will make decisions as to who's in the two deep a little bit. We will try to put pressure on them to see how they play under pressure. Right, Darius? To see how they play under pressure. And I'm looking forward to that. So I'm trying to put a little pressure on them right now. And I've told them, let's see what you can do mentally to get yourself right. Put a good performance together on Saturday afternoon. And then Saturday night, you'll be able to take a look at where you are and where you aren't and go to work to either keep your job or regain some momentum to try to take someone's job. And that's kind of where we're at, as we work these next two practices.
Nate?
On a less serious note, I think over the summer you said George McDonald was trying to convince you to play music during practice or at the start of practice.
Yeah.
You guys kick tires on that?
It hasn't crossed my mind, so don't give him any ideas. I haven't thought about it.
Last question, Chris?
You mentioned kind of the young defensive tackles learning how to be mentally tough and deal with that.
And that youth includes, every kid that hasn't played on the field. You know how I am. I've always talked about, maybe someone gets their first start in their junior year. It's their freshman start. It's their first. You know what I mean? So Wayne Williams.
I was going to ask if you were giving him a pick-me-up, and we saw him kind of get removed from the drill earlier. Is he
just challenge him to continue to leap over the next hurdle, basically? Wayne's got a little elbow thing that's sore, and he's done a nice job cutting weight. He's done a nice job learning how to deal with so much more structure in his life. He's done a nice job, fighting to compete for more plays in a practice. Now he's at a point where he's really never had any type of injuries, and when you get banged up, you're hurting, but you're not injured. So that's the next hurdle. He's getting ready to jump. So we're talking about that, and I'm telling him to trust Coach Dowse because I've seen him do it. I told him a story about Chandler Jones when he had an injury a couple of years back there, and at one point they were telling him that he might be done for the season. And a couple of days later, we get another opinion. They say, no, you'll be fine. And he ends up playing one of his best games in his career against West Virginia when we beat him in the Loud House, and he had 3 or 4 sacks, knocked the hell out of Gino, changed the game for us. The three down rush where they had 5 guys blocking, and he split a double team. And 10 days prior or whatever it was, they were telling him maybe his season's over. And so I was challenging Wayne and a couple other guys to learn what the new normal is and learn how to play with pain and be tough. And that really exemplifies what we want to be about, being a hard-nosed team and understanding what that really means. It's not just some word that people talk about. It's embracing the pain to some degree, because football it's a painful sport sometimes. And when you come out the back end of it, you learn a lot about yourself. And those are life lessons you take with you far beyond your football, because you're going to have pain in life, and we talk about that a lot. The pain in your body is going to be a microcosm of some of the hurdles you've got to jump later in life. And so that was the talk we were having when we were getting deep, walking down the cracks in the sidewalk there today.
Thanks,
Thanks, Coach, very much. We'll see you tomorrow.